Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to the Chupacabra Tutorials channel. I'm your host, Larry, the most educational Chupacabra that you're likely to meet on this side of the equator. And today we're going to be taking a look at and reviewing one of those automatic background removal programs that promises to remove the background behind your person, kind of like a green screen like I'm using right now. But rather than using a green screen and a chroma key, these types of software promise you for a very cheap price to automatically do that just by the software detecting the edges of your face or your chair or your headset and then doing most of the heavy lifting for you, so you don't have to do things like buy, say, like one of these photography lights like I've got in the corner over here. Alright, so let's get started testing this puppy. So the trick with Smartcam or Personify Chromacam is that you want to use them as your video source rather than your webcam, because what they're doing is they're sneaking in between your computer and your webcam itself and then stealing the information, reprocessing it, and then sending it to your computer. So all you gotta do to activate these things is, first, I'm gonna actually disable the green screen filter, and then you just open up your webcam source and select the TriDef Smartcam as your camera input, and then we'll enlarge this so that you can see. And already off the bat, you can see that this is a lot better at grabbing the difference between my face and my shoulders and my headset and removing it from the background compared to Personify's Chromacam. Now, it's a little easier to act like it's a lot better when you use the blur feature. I'll blur the hell out of it so that you can kind of see. But one of the things that you might notice is there's still a lot of edge bleed going on at the edges of my person, especially when I'm wearing my headset. So if I take this off, you can actually see that it does a pretty decent job of cropping out the background behind me. But unfortunately, when you have other objects like my microphone here, or even if my hands move around or get too close to the webcam, you can see the edges of my hand kind of starts to bleed a little bit, especially like the webbings between my fingers. So it's better, but it's not perfect, and this is about as optimal a lighting condition as you're likely to find in the average home in order to do like a green screen or a webcam or a live stream or recording. So this isn't ideal, and you can actually get a better sense of how effective it is if you do things like adding in a background image, and you can actually upload your own custom background images. If you don't want to be in front of, say, a frozen pond, you can always upload a picture of the Taj Mahal. And then if for whatever reason you're feeling like a kitschy, artsy hipster, they actually have some of those terrible, ugly photo filters that you can put on, like you're using, what's it called? Instagram. So now I'm kind of edgy and black and white, and now I'm kind of like a dirty burnt toast, or I can be the pea-stained bear. And then if you actually want to use this to remove your background, it seems really odd to me that they wouldn't just put in by default the ability to just remove the background behind you. But for whatever reason, if you actually need to remove your background, all you've got to do is select this ugly kind of vomit green, right-click your video capture device, go to filters, turn your green screen back on, and it's not bad. Now, one thing I have noticed with this pretty much immediately is the second you start adding in the TriDef Smartcam and green screen effects together at the same time, it actually visibly lags out your webcam by like a half a second. And I don't know if you picked that up in the video, that my words are going a little faster in the audio than they are on the camera. But I can actually physically see that there is now a bit of a delay when I activate these two effects together, and it's also a little bit blurrier in my face than it should be. So I turn that off. Yeah, it's a little better, and I think that's actually because it's green screening out the green reflections in my glasses. So that's not ideal. Yeah. But, I mean, it's there if you want it, and this is a little bit more effective than having to go out and buy a green screen, especially if you only want to experiment with doing, like, recording and streaming and everything. That said, this program not a lot of options to refine the edges of your portrait. So if I open up the advanced settings, the only things that they give you is the option to forcibly set the resolution really high, which I believe this program, by default, automatically reduces the quality of your webcam, at least size-wise, in order to save on performance, because some people have slower machines. And then this particular webcam only goes up to 30 FPS. They just released the new 60 FPS version. And then there's a couple modes. There's normal mode, which I'm not really sure what normal mode detects. And then there's head and shoulders only mode, which appears to do the exact same thing, so I'm not even sure why there's a difference in modes. Like, it's not like one mode is any better at detecting whether or not this is a microphone or not, for like the butt end over here. In fact, I think Head and Shoulders is actually even worse at detecting whether or not this is not a part of my body. So that's not very effective. We'll just leave that at normal. And then quality control seems to affect the crispness of your, image quality, but I can still see visibly that there is a bit of a reduction in resolution on my face compared with just using the default webcam source device in OBS. And the other thing is, in the event that you want like a really smooth, gradual change from blurry background to the rest of your body, you can actually increase the amount of edge smoothing so that there's like a nice feathered effect where it's kind of like lightly blurred at the edge of your body. But unfortunately, just like Personify's Chromacam, there really isn't an option anywhere in this panel over here that offers you any amount of customization of how well it detects things like the edges of your face or your chair, or whether or not you can control like the focal distance of the webcam. So that with a webcam that's as advanced as this, sometimes depending on the software I've messed with, you can make it so that like the focal point is like right here next to my head, and everything automatically behind that is just blurred based upon how a camera works. So my overall review for TriDef Smartcam, it's not bad, but it's not great. It's about the middle of the road automatic background removal tool, and I'd say your best bet rather than buying something like this is to just spend a little bit of money, get yourself a decent backdrop. Like this thing probably in total cost me about $30 because first thing I did was I bought the wrong color green screen. I bought a blue screen, forgetting that I've got blue eyes, and when you green screen or chroma key out the background of blue when you have blue eyes makes you look like you're a soulless demon, which might be somebody's fetish, but I don't think it's the vast majority of people's fetish out there in the wild. So just get yourself a nice stand. You can buy these in like little kits. For about $40 to $60, you can buy a lighting kit and a backdrop kit to make putting together a green screen really easy, not including the cost of like the webcam itself. And you can go off and make really stellar recordings without the use of all these fancy toys. Because that's really all these are. So if I go back to my regular webcam layout, and whoa, that's a little bit more zoomed in than I want, and I make this fill up the screen again, this setting is set up to auto crop out the edges, which is nice. I can right-click this, open up my filters, and I can re-enable my green screen, and that's just default settings in OBS. Like, I didn't change any of the settings for that smart filter. I just tossed it on. And look, it's already cropping out the background. There's a little bit of like a weird kind of fuzziness going on with my hair. But overall, like with just a little bit of fine tuning and tweaking, this is a great webcam setup, and it took me like one click to do it, as opposed to the 4 or 5 clicks that just to set up TriDef Smartcam. So my recommendation, I would still wait, see if they get better technology in the future. Buy yourself a traditional kind of backdrop and a couple of lights, and you can go off and make stellar recordings pretty easily. So that's it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I've been your host, Larry the Chupacabra. Thank you for joining me in reviewing this product, and I'll catch you next time. If you guys and gals out there have any other automatic background removal software that I can try out that you'd recommend or you think I should review, go ahead and pop those in the video description below. And until next time, have a good one, everybody, and toodles.